This video is going to go about showing you how to solo Skolas, and I'm kind of making this video for Year 2 Destiny players. I'm assuming the majority of Year 1 players, they've already done Skolas, but I'm also guessing that the majority of Year 2 players have never done Skolas. Now, Skolas isn't going to give you anything exciting, but you get a shader that you might not have, and the shader actually looks pretty cool on the Titan and Warlock. A hunt or two, but everything looks better on the Titan when it comes to shader. You can get an emblem and whatnot. I mean, you're not getting anything extravagant or whatnot, but if this is something you missed out on and you weren't around for Year 1 or you didn't even do it for Year 1, this video is just kind of for you if you want to come in here and experience getting to Skolas and then killing Skolas himself. I'm going to go pretty quickly and pretty much cut around these first couple rounds. So when in doubt, in Year 1 PoE, I do this every single time I'm in the hive room. You come to this left corner, and they still have not fixed this. At least to my knowledge, it was worked perfectly fine, just like it did in Year 1. You come over to this left corner, and you kill the first little wave of ads, and then, yeah, there'll be the second ogre or whatnot. But after I kill this dude, the rest of the ads aren't spawning. And I don't know why it does this, but this is just kind of what the community found out in Year 1. You just stand over here in this corner, and it delays like half the spawn. You see, there's nobody here. There's nobody. I'm chilling. I could sit back there and wait for a pack, wait for my super if you wanted to. So to get the other half of the wave out, you got to move up the room and just kind of come over here. And you see it shows them in red, but they haven't come out the door yet. I don't know why it delays the spawn. It'll take them a few seconds. I'm waiting. Here they come. And you just do that regardless. So if it's capping mines in here, if it's killing a target, if it's destroying the mines, go every time you come in here, go to that left corner, and you could cap mines. I used to do this when I did the solo videos back in Year 1 for anybody that was around, that was a sub for those days. Every time I was in the hive room, dude, you could just cap mines with no ads out here because all you got to do is take out that first wave of ads and you're in the clear. Now make sure you see wave 1's done. Before wave 2 spawns, you got to come back to this corner. And yeah, that's pretty much the hive room strategy that I use every time. I'm going to cut to the next thingamajig. The next thing up is the Vex Room. I personally dislike this room the most because they usually give you modifiers, at least in Year 1 and in this video as well. They give you a modifier like grounded. So it's like if you jump at all and you got all these friggin' Vex Hubaglumen snipers. But I prefer the left side. That's just me. You can go to the right side. Either side is good. I prefer the left side more. There's a little bit more cover. And I don't know. It's just preference. But left or right side is equally good. And I didn't mention this in the video, but for the hive room, for the Vex room, for the basically for the majority of the rooms, rock a rocket launcher. I would not use a machine gun. I would use a rocket launcher at all costs. If you don't have a good rocket launcher, then use a good machine gun or use a sword. I'm using truth. I would suggest having a rocket launcher, especially in a room like the Vex Room or the Cabal Room, where you can kind of get overrun with ads sometimes, and you can just float a few rockets, clear some space, and then bail. Now for super wise, I prefer using Blade Dancer when I'm doing solos in the non-challenge, like challenge mode, Prison of Elders. Now you're not capping mines, you're not shooting mines. So I, go with whatever. But if you're doing this, if you want to do Skolas or whatever, I would suggest Blade Dancer personally, because if you get overrun by ads, you can go invis. You can use your super to go invis, and it's very helpful when capping mines. You can go invis in your super and just be invis. And then for Titan, I would rock Bubble. And then for Warlocks, it's pick your poison. If you want to do self-res, or if you are on, well, you can do a Sith Lord as well. But I would suggest either doing self-res or a Void Bomb and doing the vampire build where you re-heal from everything. And in this room, it's the shooting mines is the objective you have to do. And you can basically shoot them from all this side. And this is another reason to have rocket launchers on, is because, say I'm overrun to my right, I floated a rocket, and then you can just use rockets to shoot the mine all the way across the way. I'm going to cut here. Strategy, basically, for the Vex Room, go to the left or go to the right, have a rocket launcher, make sure you got some sniper ammo, and yeah, Not too difficult. Next up, Cabal Room. Cabal Room, I use the strategy. I prefer right side of the room, but Cabal Room is much more fluid in the sense that if I'm getting overrun, I'm going to go to the left side of the room. And if you've watched any of my other prison stuff, you already know I do this in this room. It's my favorite thing to do, or at least what I like to do. There might be a better strategy out there. If you find one, use that. But it's just go from left side of the room to right side of the room to left side of the room to right side of the room. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. Now, depending on what's in here, if it is a kill a target, he will come out of this door to my right. That door right there to my right on the screen, he will come out of that door every single time. I've never ever had the target come out of a different door, at least in my experience. He's always come out of that door, and that's another reason to have rocket launchers on is you just light his ass up and get the target down as quickly as possible, and then you just clearing out waves of ads. In this part, instead of the target, which I thought it was going to be the target spawning, it's actually mines. And capping in here is not too difficult. I would switch to self-res for warlocks because the little middle mine where you have to cap can be dangerous. Though with the regening health, build on the void bomb, that might not be too bad rocking that. And then obviously Titan's just rock Titan bubble. You could do hammer as well, but I just would prefer bubble, or I would suggest bubble. That's what I like to use. I'm gonna skip ahead just so you can kind of see mines. If you're only familiar with Challenge of the Elders and you don't, maybe you haven't done mines ever. Just gives you an example of what mines are like when you're dismantling them in the Cabal Room. So one will spawn here, one will spawn right in front of me down there on that the middle platform. That is the dangerous one. And the other one will spawn up on the right side of the room where I like to go. I'm going to hop up there just in case it's up here. It's not up here. It's back in the middle. And I'll show you a little spot if you're not familiar. So for these two mines, you got to be on it in this room. But for the mine over in front of me on that right side, you can stay at the elevated position. That way you don't have to be down with the Cabal dudes. I'll just show you that real quick. You just got to lean towards the edge, scoot over, and you see there, diffusing the mine, and that way you don't have to be down there with the enemies. So Fallen Room kind of depends. If it's a boss, if it's a servitor boss, which you'll see in the next round, you'll go to a certain spot. But if it's not a boss, or Skolas when we get to him, I just go from, you're rotating around the room, dude. It's pretty easy. You're just killing ads. If you get overrun, this is a huge area. So if you get overrun, just bail, hide out. I just basically go from left platform, which is this, to right platform, which you'll see me use a ton in the Skolas fight. Now, if it is a target in the Fallen Room, I would suggest having a sword on instead of a rocket launcher, though rocket launchers are still good. Now, if you are doing the eliminate target, the second wave, number 2 wave, the target, he will be the first one out of the door, which is the guy I just killed. Okay, target's down. We're good. We're chilling. Now you just got to kill ads. But for the third wave, the target you have to kill, they'll juke you. You think it's this guy, the first guy again, but it's not him. He's delayed coming out. So that's why I would suggest having a sword on, because it's just, you're going to kill these ads way quicker. So here he comes. He's delayed coming out, as for some reason my raised lighter just decided not to lock on. And there we go. He's down. We're out of here. You killed him. Now you just got to clear the wave of ads, and you're done. So you will have a boss fight before Skolas. This boss is really easy. Every time there's a servitor in the Fallen Room, whenever there's a boss, and even if it's the other bosses like in the challenge, which if you've watched any of my previous Prison of Elders videos, you know where I'm going. You know exactly where I'm going. I'm going to the spot, the sweet spot. And you're just chilling back here. And you're going to be able to snipe the boss. If you got Sleeper Simulant, I would put Sleeper Simulant on, because Sleeper Simulant is going to do a ton of damage to this boss. Just have a good sniper, Sleeper Simulant. If you have rockets, just use rockets. I would not have a sword on, though you can if you'd like to. And all you're going to do is you're just going to sit here, and the boss, see the boss, he's going to mosey on over to you, and he's going to come over to you. You don't have to really worry about these ads. If there's ads up at elevated spots where that servitor is at, he's going to drop down. But if there are ever ads up there, just be aware of them, because they will be able to shoot you from that elevated position. The only ads that will come over into this back spot are sword vandals or sword captains. They're the only ones that will advance over the little rock patch in front of me and try to come and do damage. But the majority of the time they either get stuck or they'll come over and immediately bail back across the rock. Okay, so you see he's coming right here. And then he gets stuck. He can't get out. He's trying to get out. So they'll hop over and then they'll go, oh, what the hell? I'm not supposed to be back here. And then they'll try and flip out. Okay, so basically this is all you're going to do. And I'm going to pretty much cut the video here. If you're taking damage, kneel down behind the rock. Go back to the left. So you're just, sniping. You're sniping, doing as much as you can. You're taking damage, just fall back where I am right now. Kneel down if you have to. Sit down if you have to. And just hang out right here and chill. And then when your health recovers, sneak back out. It might take the boss. The boss will go away. If the boss doesn't see you, he'll kind of float off screen, but he'll come back. He always comes to you, the boss, the little servitor. He'll always come back to you. Now, you might need to clear out some of these ads. They'll get in the way of your sniper shots and sleeper shots and whatnot, but this boss is super easy, dude. You'll melt them really, really quick from this spot. So now we're on to Skolas. The reason you clicked on this video, if you clicked on it. So for Skolas, if you're not familiar with the strategy, I will quickly go over it before we get into the fight. So the second we breach the door and go into the room, we're going to head to the left. And we're going to be taking out a servitor. Once we take out that servitor, we're going to be breaking the bonds and we're going to be able to do max damage to Skolas. Okay, so basically how are we soloing this? You need a sword. Doesn't matter if it's exotic or legendary, you're going to need a sword for the second half of the fight. Now, before we get to the second half of the fight, though, you don't need a sword on. So I would suggest a rocket launcher or sleeper simulant, but before you leave the room, make sure that you can pop a pack. Because once we transition to kind of the second half of the fight, you need to have a sword on. You need to have a sword on, I repeat that, because you need to block the super herpes, which we'll get into, which is kind of like a little poison that Skolas gives you. So we're going to run out to the left. We're going to kill a servitor, then we're going to turn around, we're going to snipe Skolas. We're going to use sleeper simulant on Skolas. We're going to use rockets. If you don't have sleeper simulant, just use your sniper ammo and then try to use your rockets, a few if you can, and then you can kind of clear out some ads and then you can switch to a sword, or you can just save those rockets and then when we transition to the second half, which you'll see, then you switch to a sword then. Primary, just rock what you like. You like pulse rifle, scout rifle, hand cannon. Now, I would suggest if you were on the Titan or the Warlock to have a legendary sword and then to switch to the multi-tool. That would just be my suggestion. Or any primary that has a +2 agility. And then I would run the Void Walker or self-res. Again, it's up to you. I would personally go with self-res. And then for the Titan, you're rocking Bubble. Just rock Bubble and have Twilight Garrison on if you have it. If you don't have Twilight Garrison, that's perfectly fine, but I would suggest having Twilight Garrison because of aspect of the fight is going to have you trying to transition from left side of the room to right side of the room, left side of the room, right side of the room. I'm going to explain this as we go along, but we're coming out here and we're going to head to the left. Skolas is going to have his little stupid animation. And Hunters, I didn't mention, but I mentioned it earlier in the video, Blade Dancer. I would rock Blade Dancer, not Night Stalker, not Golden Gun. Blade Dancer with all the invis perks activated. So here we go, running over to the left, You see the servitor right there. We need to kill him before we're going to do damage on Skolas. So here we go. I'm going to snipe him a few times, choke a snipe there. He's still not dead. There we go, he's dead. Servitor bonds weakened, so that in remaining time, we have time to do max damage on Skolas, whereas ads will be spawning behind you. Skolas will come to you slowly sometimes, as you saw he was trapped in the corner, but he will come to you. Okay, we got a few seconds left, Let's try to do as much damage as possible. Okay, servitor bonds are gone. We're going to bail now. Regardless, bail. We're bailing to the other side of the room. We're bailing to right platform. And there will be another servitor that spawns over there. You see him. He's right down there below me. I'm not going to shoot at him yet because it takes Skolas friggin' days to rotate around the map. This cat like granny walks if you're not familiar with Skolas or this fight. So I don't want to kill that servitor yet because that's just going to be a waste because Skolas will not be over here and I won't be able to do damage to him. And I don't want to kill the servitor and then go run out there and try to find Skolas. Now, I have not switched to a sword yet because we have not transitioned to the second phase of the fight, I guess we could call it. There will be ads that jump up here The ads that will jump up here are vandals will jump up here periodically, but if you are taking out the ads routinely, they won't get an opportunity to jump up here with you. Skolas isn't going to come up here or anything, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so I saw Skolas. I see he's nearby. I'm going to be able to do damage. Now, the second you start shooting this servitor, it's going to start moving. It will not move. At least they normally do not move until you start doing damage on it. So second I do damage, okay. Homie's trying to take off. Homie's trying to take off. That's okay. He's weak. Let's hop back up on the platform. We'll finish him off. And then we'll have about, 20 to 19 seconds to do damage. I switch to sleeper. I don't have any ammo. I'm a nub. I didn't notice I didn't have any ammo. And Skolas, like I said, he'll come to you. So if he teleports like that, he's more likely going to come to you. Okay, you see that message right there? Servitor bonds are broken above the super bar. Okay, that means that there's no more servitors. We can do damage on Skolas whenever. This is when you need to transition to a sword. You see another message. Skolas taints a guardian's light. He's given us the herpes. And that's going to count down, and it's going to kill us unless we have a sword on. And we're going to be blocking it. Once it gets down to about 2 seconds, that's when you want to put your block on, and that's going to make sure that you don't die from it. Now, once you block it and it goes away, it's not gone for good. If you're not familiar with this fight, Skolas will be bringing it back every so often. It's pretty quickly it comes back, so you want to make sure you have ammo. So I would basically, you don't have to have an exotic sword. I switched to an exotic sword, but try not to use a lot of ammo on ads if you can, because the last thing you want to do is be burning through that ammo, and then maybe you run out of ammo, and then you can't pop a pack. So you see, it was only gone for a little short period, and it's going to come back. And we're going to be continuing to do damage on Skolas when we can. Now, this is my time to explain the third part of the fight. So yeah, the first phase where we just got to get his health to probably about 60%, and then the servitors go away, or maybe probably like 65%, and then the herpes show up. And the herpes will be here until you kill Skolas. They are not going away. You see here, it gets down to about 3 seconds. I'm blocking with my sword. Okay, devouring essence, it's gone. The herpes are gone. And we got a little free time until it comes back. So you just got to be aware of that, looking at your bottom left-hand corner to see the time. So the third phase, once we get him past about 50% health, he will spawn mines, and you're going to have to dismantle them. Rock a bubble, rock self-res, have multi-tool on. I would highly suggest having multi-tool on if you are a warlock or a titan, just because you cannot get across the map as fast. Well, titans can if you're kind of titan skating and whatnot, but hunters with blade dancer, it's just very, very easy. So a mine will spawn on this platform I'm on now. And then a mine can spawn clear across the other side of the room where we killed that first servitor. That's where a mine will be. And if you see the platform, so directly in front of me, I know I'm behind the wall at the moment, but there's a platform that's more close to this side. It's not directly in the middle. That one right where that blue engram's at, up to my right. I hope when I pop out of my scope, you can probably get a blue engram right there. That blue engram, that's where another mine will spawn. So I'm going to rewind this real quick so you can hear the guy call it out.
Dismantle mines, yes. Or die.
So the second you hear him call out mines, you're going to rotate to the middle mine, because just in case it is the really, really far mine and clear across the room, you just want to cut down that distance you have to travel. So the second he calls it out, I'd always come to this middle mine right here. Okay, it's not on middle, it's not on the right platform, it's left side of the room. We got to haul ass. Pop Blade Dancer, start hacking away. If you're a Titan, use Twilight Garrison, do a little Titan skating. Warlocks will have the hardest time capping mines. You just got to make sure your timing's great. So we're diffusing, we're making sure to keep an eye out if second mine spawns. The second this hits 100, you're bailing. Do not worry about ads, just bail. Okay, it's clear across the way back to right platform. We got the worst order imaginable, and the essence is coming down. 2-1, you can't forget about the essence. Okay, I'm blocking there. Now we're capping the second mine, so we know where the third mine's going to be. Third mine's in the middle. So if you're on a Titan, pop your bubble up middle if you get in trouble. That's where I would use your super. If you have self-res, you're about to die, use it taking middle. Or if you got void bomb, use it taking middle. So I'm just chilling. Last mine's almost diffused. Okay, we're all good. Now we just got to worry about the Devourer of Essence until the second wave of mines. And you control this entire fight. I know I'm explaining as we're going, but you control the entire fight. So if you don't want the herpes yet, then keep his ass above about 65% health. If you don't want mines yet, don't take him below half health. And then the second wave of mines comes out when he's probably at about 20% health. So you control all this. And I always try and time it up. I didn't mention it before first mines because that came a little quicker than I expected. But make sure that you have your super, Titans, Warlocks, Hunters. Make sure you have your supers before mines because you might need to pop that bubble to save yourself. You might need self-res to save yourself. You might need blade dancers you can hack across the map. And another quick note for Warlocks, if you do run out of sword ammo or you don't feel like using any, if you die from the Devouring Essence, you can then self-res and you'll be alive again, which is probably pretty common since you guys play the game. You know the game. I'm sure you probably understood that without me even having to say it. So you control when mines come, like I said. So try and time that up also with the Devouring Essence if you can, which I kind of try to do with the second mines, which I'm going to kind of fast forward to. And that is, the Devouring Essence is going, right? And there is that little lull time. So try to take them low to when you think mines are about to spawn. And the second that Devouring Essence is gone, try to go ham. Use your sniper, try to hit some shots, and maybe mines will spawn. And then that way it's not as hectic, like, oh, I got to block mid-mine. You'll see here, it's kind of a little sketchy at the end on the last mine cap for the second phase. I'm going to fast forward here. You guys aren't missing anything. Just keeping ads at bay, clearing out ads, making sure that Skolas' super herpes don't kill me, making sure to remember to block at about 3 seconds. And if you are in super duper low health, like a sliver and you're blocking, it takes a chunk. You see, it's taking a chunk of your health. So you got to make sure that you're not under siege, or try to not be under siege when the Devouring Light takes place. Mines are coming in again. Call it out. Same thing. I'm going to middle just in case it's the first one. I'm chilling. I'm hoping it's the first one. It's not. It's the far one again because this game just, I don't know. I don't mind going to the far one for the first mine if it hooks you up and goes back to middle. But a lot of the times it goes from one side to the other side and then to middle. Again, we're just diffusing as quickly as you can. Do not worry about ads. Don't even waste your time. The second that thing's about to hit 100, get moving. You got to get moving. Okay, it hooked us up. It went back to middle, which is nice. We don't have to move as far. Again, Titans is when I would pop your bubble. Warlocks, use your Void Bomb, or hold on to it if you want to. And you got to remember the Devouring Essence, dude. I didn't time this up very well, and I got to go get third mine, but I got to remember to block as I barely get it in time. That was a close call as we're diffusing the last mine. There's only 2 rounds of mines. Once the second round is done, you're all good. Now you can just finish them off. You can finish Skolas. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully this was not too confusing. I know I was kind of explaining as I go. I usually explain the whole fight and then show you the fight. I did it a little bit differently just to try to keep this video a little bit lower on time. But just to kind of have a quick sum up, you run in the room. Have sniper ammo, make sure you can pop a heavy pack, have sleeper simulant or rocket launcher, machine gun's fine too as well. You're going to the left. You're taking out the servitor, and you've broken the bonds. You got 20 seconds to do damage on Skolas. Do as much damage as you can. Once the timer's out, you rotate to right platform, which is the platform I'm on right now. Wait for Skolas to mosey his punk ass over to this side of the room. And once he does, take out the other servitor that will be below this platform. Do damage. Hopefully you do enough damage by then that servitors will go away. If you don't do enough damage, that's perfectly fine. You just got to go to the other side of the room. That's where another servitor will spawn, and that will just rinse and repeat until you have broken the bonds completely and the servitors are gone. You will then get the Devouring Essence being a part of the fight. And you just got to make sure to switch to a sword, pop a pack. Again, it doesn't have to be an exotic sword, just has to be a sword. And about 3 seconds, that's when I usually initiate the block. Make sure you're kind of checking that bottom left-hand corner periodically, because the last thing you want to do is just totally forget about it, and then you got to start the fight all over again. So we killed him. I'm going to keep explaining the thing. So then Devouring Essence comes in. Once he's past half health, first mines will come in. Remember, go to middle mine just to kind of cut down the distances you have to travel. You're capping mines. Once you cap them, then go back to right platform. Just same old thing, rinse and repeat, clearing out ads, build your super back up before second mines. You don't have to. I would just suggest having your super for the mine phases of the fight. Then second mines will go. Once second mines goes and you get that done, there is no more mines. All you got to do is finish off Skolas and make sure to remember to be blocking every 30 seconds for that devouring essence. And yeah, that's the fight. It's very, very easy now, obviously, with the light level jump up. And hopefully this video was helpful for the, I don't know, the 1 or 2 people that might be wanting to do Skolas because they've never done it before. And I'll show you the shader real quick. It's the Queen's Web. This is kind of what it looks like, kind of that purple glowy. It looks better on the Titan. But yeah. Have a good one, guys. See ya.